Okay everyone, so now we are learning that how to insert record into database using buttons and the text boxes. First of all, we are making the simple program where we are going to take the toolbar, and from the toolbar we are taking a button. We want that this button is for the insert record. So I am just changing the text of this button. Let's say insert. And here I am putting a label that this is the database connectivity where we are going to insert the record. So inside the text, we are going to change that insert record into database. So this is what we are going to perform. We are clicking back. Here we can see that this is the label which is present, insert record into database. And here is one button which is present. First of all, we will learn with the help of button, then we will understand that how we can convert this to the text box. Here, if I want that, I should provide my name. So here I want that in the text, I should be giving the name which is Ankit Verma. So here I am going to extend the size. You can see that the name is present. This is center line I am doing. So this is the form which is ready. I want that whenever I click on this insert, then record should be inserted into the database. For database connectivity, there are three steps. First step is that we have to create the database. So here we are going on the MS Access. You can take SQL or Oracle if you want. Now here on the blank database, we are providing the name. Let's say we are giving that is DB, which is database. We are going to provide the path. Let's say on the desktop, I want to save it. Now I am making it compatible with the earlier versions so that there should be no connectivity problem. So 2002 and 2003 format, press OK. Now create. So database is created. Here is a table. I am providing the design of the table. First, we are providing the name of the table. So employee is the name. Press OK. Then afterward, it is asking us what are the fields, means column. Let's say this is the E_ID, which is employee ID. And I am removing it from auto number because I want to insert the record. I want that it should not be auto numbered. So here this is number. We should understand that there is a key which is available. That means it is the primary key. That means its value cannot be duplicate. So if you want that there should be two employee ID with the same, no, that is not possible. So E_name, this is the second field. Let us suppose that we are providing the short text. Now let's say E_address we are going to provide. Now here we are giving the long text. After we are going to put the entries. So right click, open. It is asking us to save. Yes. Then enter the name. Let's say I'm giving my name here, which is Ankit. Then address, let's say Delhi. Now here I am providing 1. Now 2. Then afterward, let's say I am putting the surname, which is Verma here. Again, it is Delhi. So this is how the database is created. Then afterward, we have to save it. After saving, we have to close the database. Now, this first part is over. That means database is created. In the second part, we have to create the connection. So for that, we should be going on the Server Explorer. Already some database is present. We don't want, so delete it. Now afterward, we are going to right click, add connection. Here, if you are having SQL, select the SQL. If you have the Oracle database, select the Oracle. If you have other database, select odbc. And here we are having MS Access in our program. So I'm selecting MS Access. Press OK. It is asking us the file name. So here, browse, go to the desktop. DB is created. Press open. We don't have any user ID and password. So do not enter username or password. Click on text connection. So test connection succeeded. That means there is no problem with the connectivity. If some problem comes, then you have to check your connectivity or your database should be compatible with the previous formats. Now press OK, then press OK. After you can see that there is a small plug is available. That means database is connected. Now afterward, you has to put it back, and here is our form. Again, here we want the toolbox. So click on the toolbox. Toolbox is available. Now with the help of that, we are now going to work with the code. We want that whenever we click on this button, then afterward record should be inserted into the database. Now for that, we have to do the coding. So first of all, double click on the form. We know that form load, that means whenever you click on this play button, means start debugging, then this form load coding will work. As we are working with the code, so first of all, we should be taking the namespace of database, that is imports. And what we are importing, we are going to import system. System is the main or the root of the .NET. Inside the system, we are having data. We know that in the data, we are having everything. Means all the database connectivity is the part of system.data. As we are using the access here, so here we are using the oledb. Let's say if you are working with the Oracle, then you can select the Oracle or the SQL. It is totally depending upon your database which you are using. So system.data. That is what you want in your database. Then afterward, we want that our database should be connected. First thing you should understand that your database is just like your water tank, and whatever you are doing in your .NET program, that is at your home, whatever the tap you are having. So from your tank to your home, there should be one pipeline. So that means from database to your .NET program, there should be one connection. So first of all, we are making the object of connection, that is dim, means declare. Then cone stands for connection. This is the object. As new, whenever we mark new, this is the object. Then afterward, we are mentioning oledb connection. So we have made the object of connection, which is cone. Now, with the help of this cone, we want to create a connection between your .NET and the database. You assume that from your home to the tank, water tank, we are making a pipeline. So similar way, we are making a connection. Now connection will be help of some string. So cone dot connection string. Now where to find that connection string? Simply go to the Server Explorer where database is connected. Click on that. You can see that connection string is present. So copy that. You should copy the complete string. Then afterward, right click, copy. Then simply put the double quote start. Then afterward, right click and paste. And at the end, you can see that already double quote is provided. So if any double quote is there in between, remove it. Now your connection string is available. That means whenever you click on this start debugging button, then this form load coding will work and connection will be created. What connection is saying? It is saying that my provider is Microsoft.jet oledb 4.0. And where is my data source? Data source is C drive user Ankit Verma desktop db dot. This is what we have created. This is the location where the database is present. And this is nothing but the name of provider who is providing the database. So this is called connection string, which tells you the provider name and the path, means the data source where it is present. So on the form load, this part will work. Now I want that whenever I click on this button, then afterward some code should run and the record should be inserted. So double click on that. So now when we click on this button, then afterward this code will execute. So here we want that after clicking on insert button, one record should be inserted into the database. Now we know that with the help of this connection, we have the connection between database and our .NET program. And I have taken the example that from your water tank to your home, one pipe is created. Now, first of all, we are going to open that pipe. So cone, which is the connection, dot open. We should know that whenever we are inserting, deleting, or any type of operation we are performing, then this connection should be open. That means pipe from your tank to your home should be open so that water should flow. That means from database to your .NET, whatever the connection is there, you should open it so that data can flow. Now afterward, how much data you want? Means from the pipe you want whole water. That means from the connection you want whole data. So depending upon the connection, so for that we has to provide the command. So here we are mentioning that dim, then afterward command as oledb command. Now based upon this command, we are going to control the flow of data. As we are controlling the flow of water from the pipe with the help of valve, similarly here we are having the command. With the help of that we will control the flow of data. So here we are mentioning that whatever the command is there, so we are mentioning command is equal to new, then afterward oledb command. In the bracket we are going to pass whatever the command is available. We know that there are so many SQL queries which we are working. Select star from employee or insert into table. So same, right now we are inserting. So here we are going to apply the insert query. So in the bracket we are going to provide double quote starting and double quote ending. In the bracket we are mentioning that with the double quote insert into the name of database. We know that is employee that we have created. Then values, this is simple SQL query. In the bracket we are passing, we know that in our database we have created 3 fields. The first was employee ID, that was some number. We know that already 2 records we have inserted. So now is the time to insert the 3rd record. So we are mentioning the first field which is 3, comma, the second field was name of employee. So here I am mentioning, let us suppose again my name which is Ankit. Repetition is possible. Then afterward there is the employee address. Let's say again I want to provide Delhi. So this is the address. You should see that here we are mentioning single quote. Whenever we are passing some kind of string, there is a single quote we have to provide. In the number, we don't have to provide a quote. Then afterward, where this connection string should work, then we have to provide comma from cone. Cone means connection. Now we should understand that first connection is created from database to our .NET. Then afterward, with the help of command, we are going to see what we are going to perform with that connection. With the help of connection, we are going to insert the values into employee table, which is 3 fields, 3 Ankit and Delhi. Then afterward, we are going to execute this query. This is the query. We should know whenever we are inserting SQL query inside .NET, this is called LINQ, which is language integrated query, LINQ. This is the feature of .NET. Now here we are mentioning one more variable, which is dim, let's say array as integer. This is one normal variable which will result that is the record inserted or not. So this is simple variable we have taken. So afterward we are simply saying array is equal to then command which we have given dot execute non-query. So here we are going to execute the query. So we have written the command and we are going to execute that query, and the result means yes or no, 0 and 1 will come here into array. If record inserted, then the value of array will be 1. If not inserted, then it will be 0. Then afterward we want how user should know the record is inserted. So we are giving a message to the user in the message box that record inserted. Now afterward record inserted, we want to provide the value of array. So here I am concatenating with the array. So if the array value is 1, we should know that one record is inserted. Now afterward we should close the connection. So cone dot close. We should simply understand the connectivity with the help of water tank and our home. When we want the water, simply then we open the tap. So this way, when you want the data, you open the connection. And when your water is taken in your bucket and afterward you don't want, then close the water tap. Similarly, when data is taken or given, close the connection. So after every command, you have to close the connection, and for executing, you have to open the connection. So here connection is created. So connection is open. Then afterward command, with the help of command, we are controlling what is going through this connection. Then execute the query. Then afterward close the connection. This is a simple step. Whenever we are performing the database connectivity, there are 100% chances that your connectivity will not be working properly, because you are dealing with the third party. .NET is dealing with the Oracle, SQL or Access. So here in the connectivity problem may occur. So in that case, we should take the exception handling support. So here above that, we are mentioning try catch block. We know that in try catch block, we simply write here in try block, whatever we want to check, means the code which you want to check will be the part of try, and after exception occur here in the catch block. So all the code which you are taking for the connectivity, you just cut that code simply from here, and in the try block you should simply paste it. That means your whole code should be the part of this try block. Means whenever some exception occur, it should not be going on the code. It should simply give you some kind of warning. So simple warning I am giving, let's say message box record not inserted. So this is a simple warning. That means there is some kind of problem in my code, or maybe some other thing which is the problem. So record not inserted. This is what we are giving as the exception. So here our program is ready to execute, and now we are going to work with that. Now we are going to execute this program. So we are clicking on this start debugging. Then afterward, one output window is coming in front of us. Click on insert. Here we can see that record not inserted. That means somewhere in the code there is problem. So we have to check here. We can see that here we have insert into employee values, bracket we have started, but bracket we have not closed. So this bracket we have to close. So here we can see that after values, bracket started and bracket should close, and number should be coming without single quote, and the names or the text should be coming with the code. Now it is okay. Again, we are going to check. So click on the start debugging. Then afterward, we are having this output screen. Now click on insert. We can see that record inserted. That means successfully record is inserted. So click on OK. Now close this. And now we are going to check whether this record is inserted or not. Now again, we are going on the database. So we are going on the desktop where the database is present. Here is a DB which is locked. Lock means it is used by .NET right now. So click on the DB. We can see that there is an employee table. So click on that. And here we can see that 3 Ankit and Delhi, this record is inserted. Now we have to close this, because once we are doing another insertion, then for that it is required the database should be closed. Understand one more thing. If I has to insert next record, then we has to change the code. So here we are mentioning 4 here. Now again start the project, then afterward click on insert, record inserted 1, OK. Now cross this. Again going on the database and check whether the record is inserted or not. So going on the table 4 Ankit Delhi inserted. There is one problem that every time we are going to use the code, so that is not really good. We will make the solution for that. But let us suppose that you are not changing this first value. Let us suppose again you are executing that and afterward clicking on insert, then record not inserted. The reason is that because here we have made the first one as the primary key. While creating the database, the first field which was ID was the primary key. That means duplicate value cannot be there. So if you are going to enter the duplicate value for the first field, it will not take. So you have to change it. Now afterward, again you have to start the project. Then again insert, record inserted. So properly record is inserted. We can go and check into the database, going on the desktop, and afterward database, and here on the employee table, 5 Ankit Delhi. So first values cannot be duplicated because this was the primary key whose values cannot be duplicate. Other values can be duplicated, Delhi, Ankit, Verma, no problem. Now afterward, we can see that there is one problem. Every time I am going on the coding and inserting the record, but that is really not good. There should be some kind of text box. With the help of that, we should insert the record. Now I want that for all the 3 fields, there should be the text box. So I'm going to modify this. This insert button I am putting down. I'm taking the toolbox here. Now from this toolbox, I'm going to take one text box. We will go step by step. So here I am taking first text box and I am putting one label also. We know that the first field is the employee ID. So here I am mentioning which is employee ID. So this employee ID, I want that it should be taken from the text box. So how we can work with that? We will one by one convert all into the text box, but step by step. So this is text box 1. Now clicking on insert, I want that the first field should be taken from the text box. Simply, you should replace this 5 with the text box. But there is a trick you should know. Here, this 5 is the part of double quote. Now, this is the complete query. Inside the double quote, this is the complete query. So, we should replace this 5 with the text box 1.text. So, from taking the text box 1 text, we should have to write this text box 1.text. Now, you can see that this text box 1.text is into the red. That means this is not considered as some kind of variable or whose values will be taken because it is the part of double quote. So everything will be taken as the text or the query, but we don't want. We want that text box 1.text value should be taken and replaced here. So for that, you just simply close the double quote. That means first was the part of query, then afterward concat with the text box 1.text. Then afterward, again, you have to concat with the double quote. Now you can see that here we are putting one space for the better understanding. Now this text box is out of the query. So insert into employee values, then this bracket is first part of the query. Then afterward, we are concatenating with the value which is taken from the text box, then concatenating with the rest of the query. So with the help of that intelligently, we have taken the value of text box and our query will even not change. So now here we are going to execute that. Then afterward, we are going to provide the next value here. Let us suppose 6. Then afterward, click on insert. You can see that record is inserted. Now we are inserting one more record here. Let us suppose that again we click on the start. And afterward, we are putting 7 here, then insert. Record inserted. Now we are going on the database and checking whether the record is inserted or not. So the desktop, we has to open the database. We should know that every time we has to open the database and close it, because when the .NET is using it, then database should be closed. So 7 Ankit and Delhi, this is taken. Let us suppose that somehow the record is not going to insert. The reason is that sometimes this connection string is not properly connected, because you should know on the form load we have provided this string and we are using the disconnected architecture. Sometimes if you are running the project and your database is not accepting the value, that means this connection is not created. So you can do one thing, you can just take out this string and you can even put into the try if you want. That means after every time you click on the button, then connection is created. Because this is a disconnected architecture, so sometimes connection is broken. So once your database is not accepting the value, so you should stop your project, then afterward run it. That is the easy solution. Now, with the help of this change, we have taken the first text box and successfully the value is taken. Now we want that the second value, that means this name should also be coming from the text box. So we are going back here. Again on the toolbox, we are going to drag and drop one text box. This text box we are using for the name right now. So we are aligning it. Then afterward, we are, let us suppose that taking one label, and here we are mentioning that this is nothing but the employee name. So here in the text we are changing employee name. So this is employee name we are going to enter. We are going step by step conversion. So this is text box 2. When I click on insert, I want that this text box should be giving the value of this name. So simply what we are doing here, this Ankit, we want that should be coming from the text box 2. As the earlier, we are going to just replace it. We are putting the text box 2.text here. You can see that this text box 2 is the part of query because it is in the red color. So for that, we are just stopping the query with the double quote, concatenating with the text box 2. Then afterward, again, text box 2.text we are concatenating. And then afterward, we are going to provide the double quote. So again, we can see that there is no change in the query. Insert into employee values. This is first part. Concat with the text box 1.text. Then comma and single quote. Then afterward, concat with text box 2.text. Then again, single quote with Delhi. So this is how our query is complete. But let's see this program will give the result or not, or we have to change something extra. So now we are going to run that. We are running it. And here afterward, we are going to provide, let's say 8. And here I am putting the Ankit. This is the name I am providing. Now Delhi will remain same. So click on insert, record inserted 1. So click OK, then afterward cross it. Now we are going on the database and check. So in the database, we are going on the employee. So 8 record is inserted. Now here we are taking one more modification. Sometimes when you are putting this, your project may not work for some of the .NET version. Now this single quote, we know that we have provided for the names. We are removing it for a while. So if your project is not working, then you have to remove it, because in some .NET versions, it is directly taking the value. Single quote is not required. So we are running and checking that is it supporting for us or not. So clicking over there, then afterward we are putting the employee ID as 9. Again, we are putting the Ankit here, clicking on insert. Record not inserted. That means for my .NET version, it is not working. So maybe for your, it is working. So I am going to change it again. So we are providing the single quote here, and at the end we are providing the single quote here. Then again we are rechecking whether it is working or not. So again we are going to run this project. Then afterward we are putting the employee ID, that 9, and then we are mentioning the name as Ankit. So click on insert, record inserted. So here successfully we have inserted one more record. We are going to check it into the database. So database, we are going, opening the employee 9 Ankit Delhi is again available. Now we are going to change the last field also. We want that this value should also be coming from the text box. So we are going back to the form. Here we are going on the toolbox. From the toolbox, we are going to drag and drop one text box. This text box, we know that is for the third value, and the third value name we are mentioning that this is the employee address. So here we are going to align it. Then in the text we are going to change that this is employee address. So here address will come. Now we are going to align it also. So afterward, when we click on the insert, then all three values should be taken from these text boxes. Text box 1, 2, 3. So address will come from the text box 3. So now go to the insert, then afterward, this is the query. Inside the query, we can see that from the third, here we are having the value. Now this Delhi I want that should be coming from the text box 3. So simply putting the text box 3.text here. We can see that this is becoming the part of query because it is into the red, but we want that its value should come. So same method, before that put this double quote, then concat with this text box 3, then afterward text box 3 again concat with the double quote. So we can see that our query will remain. Then insert into employee values, this is first part, concat with text box 1 dot text for the first value, then this is comma single quote, concat with text box 2, then again concat with single quote, comma and single quote, then again concat with text box 3 dot text, then single quote bracket end. So this is how our query is complete. Now we are going to check this whether it is working or not. So again we are going to start this project. Then after we are moving it and we are putting that employee ID is 10. Let us suppose that name is Ankit and address is Delhi. Then afterward, click on insert. So we can see that record inserted 1. That means this time all the values which we are taking, they are taking from the text boxes. Now we are putting it okay. Then afterward closing it and we are going back and checking whether in the database values are coming or not. So going on the database and here on the employee you can see that 10 Ankit and Delhi. All the 3 values, these are coming from the text boxes. So we are closing it and we are going back, and here we should understand that how this code is working. Simply when we start this project, then afterward it is going to import the namespace which is system.data.oledb. oledb because we are using the MS Access. If you are using the Oracle, you change with the Oracle or SQL depending upon the database you have opted. Similarly, connection will be oledb or the Oracle connection depending upon your database. First, the connection is created. When the form is loaded, connection is created with the connection string. Connection string provide you the provider and the source. Then you click on this insert button. Then from these 3 text boxes, whatever the values we are taking, let's say 12. Then afterward, the name we are mentioning Ankit. Then afterward, let's say Delhi. So these value, when we click on the insert, then these are going on the try catch block. Try catch block is simply going to check if some exception occur or not. Connection will open, then command will execute, and here insert into employee values. So from text box 1, 2 and 3, with the help of the connection, values are inserted, query is executed, and if the record is properly inserted, then here the message will pop up that record is inserted. Then afterward connection will close. But if anyhow there is some exception, then it will say record not inserted. So now we click on the insert, we can see that record inserted. So this is how we can insert the records into the database using the .NET. And here we have used the text boxes as well as buttons. So from this text box and button, we can insert the record into database.